Aging can often feel like navigating a winding path filled with unexpected turns and challenges. As we grow older, our bodies may not move as easily as they once did, and we might find ourselves facing new physical limitations. This can be frustrating and sometimes even frightening. Alongside these physical changes, there are emotional hurdles to overcome. Feelings of loneliness, loss, or uncertainty about the future can creep in, making it easy to feel overwhelmed. Social connections may shift as friends and loved ones move away or pass on, leaving us to grapple with the reality of change. Yet, amidst these challenges, there is a powerful opportunity for growth and renewal. Resilience becomes our greatest ally, reminding us that we have the strength to adapt and thrive. Embracing a positive mindset can transform our perspective, allowing us to see the beauty in each day and the wisdom that comes with experience. By focusing on practical strategies, like staying active, nurturing relationships, and engaging in hobbies, we can infuse our lives with purpose and joy. Aging is not just about the challenges we face. It is also about the richness of life that continues to unfold. With each passing year, we can choose to embrace this journey with open hearts, finding new ways to connect, learn, and celebrate the gift of life. As people grow older, their perception of time often shifts dramatically. In youth, time feels like an endless expanse filled with possibilities. Days stretch out like a canvas waiting to be painted with dreams and adventures. However, as the years pass, that canvas begins to feel smaller, and the reality of mortality looms larger. The carefree days of youth give way to a more profound awareness of time slipping away, leading to feelings of urgency and introspection. This shift can bring about a mix of emotions. Some may find themselves reflecting on their lives, grappling with regrets about paths not taken or dreams left unfulfilled. Midlife crises can emerge as a response to this realization, prompting individuals to reassess their choices and desires. Others may feel a renewed drive to chase after long-postponed goals, realizing that it is never too late to pursue what truly matters to them. Take the story of Sarah, a woman in her late 50s who had spent most of her life working in a corporate job. For years, she had dreamed of becoming a painter, but life's responsibilities and the daily grind pushed that dream aside. One day, while cleaning out her attic, she stumbled upon a box filled with her old sketches and art supplies. As she flipped through her drawings, a wave of nostalgia washed over her, and she felt a spark of inspiration. That moment became a turning point for Sarah. She decided to enroll in a local art class, despite her initial fears of being too old to start something new. The first few classes were challenging, and she often felt out of place among younger students. However, as she continued to paint, she discovered a joy she hadn't felt in years. Each brushstroke became a celebration of her creativity, and she began to share her work online. To her surprise, people responded positively, and she even held a small exhibition at a local cafe. Sarah's journey taught her that time, while finite, can also be a canvas for renewal. She learned that it's never too late to embrace passions and fulfill dreams. The story serves as a reminder that life is not just about the years we accumulate, but how we choose to fill those years. Each moment can be an opportunity for growth, exploration, and fulfillment, no matter our age. As we face the reality of time and mortality, let us not be paralyzed by fear, but inspired by the possibilities that still lie ahead. Time can be a chance for renewal, a call to action to pursue what we love, and a reminder that every day is a gift waiting to be unwrapped. As we age, our bodies undergo a series of changes that can be both surprising and challenging. Many people notice a decline in stamina, making it harder to keep up with activities that once felt effortless. Joint pain can become a constant companion, turning simple tasks into daunting challenges. Recovery times from injuries or even minor strains seem to stretch longer, leaving us feeling frustrated and sometimes defeated. Take the story of Margaret, a once vibrant woman in her 70s who loved to hike. Every weekend, she would explore the trails near her home, feeling the thrill of the fresh air and the beauty of nature. But as the years passed, she found herself struggling to keep up with her friends. The steep hills that once excited her now left her breathless, and the joint pain in her knees made every step a reminder of her physical decline. One day, after a particularly difficult hike, she sat on a bench, tears in her eyes, mourning the loss of a beloved activity. The frustration of not being able to do what she loved weighed heavily on her heart, and she felt a deep sense of loss. As we navigate the physical changes of aging, we also face the emotional toll that comes with them. the fear of mental decline can be just as daunting. Many people worry about memory loss, struggling to recall names or where they place their keys. The thought of cognitive struggles can be frightening, especially with the looming shadow of diseases like Alzheimer's. The uncertainty of what the future holds can create a sense of anxiety that is hard to shake. However, it is important to remember that while some things may change, there are still many ways to adapt and find joy. For Margaret, the realization that she could no longer hike as she used to was painful, but it also opened the door to new possibilities. She discovered low-impact exercises like swimming and yoga, which not only helped her stay active, but also brought her a sense of peace and tranquility. The gentle movements in yoga allowed her to connect with her body in a new way, while swimming provided a refreshing escape that felt liberating. Focusing on what we can still do is crucial. Engaging in activities that bring us joy, whether it's gardening, painting, or even taking leisurely walks, can help shift our perspective. Finding new hobbies or revisiting old ones can reignite a sense of purpose and satisfaction. It's about embracing the changes and discovering new paths to happiness. In the end, while the journey of aging may come with its challenges, it also offers opportunities for growth and adaptation. By finding ways to stay active and engaged, we can continue to experience the beauty of life, even as we navigate the complexities of physical and mental decline. Loneliness and isolation are significant challenges that many people face as they age. As we grow older, our social circles often shrink. This can happen for various reasons. Friends may drift apart due to different life paths, such as moving away or changing interests. Family dynamics can also evolve. Children grow up and leave home, and sometimes relationships with siblings or extended family members change. Additionally, retirement can lead to a loss of daily social interactions that were once part of a work environment. The emotional toll of isolation can be profound. Many older adults find themselves feeling lonely and disconnected. For instance, a retired teacher named Margaret shared how, after her husband passed away, she felt a deep sense of emptiness. Her friends had moved to different states, and she found it hard to connect with new people. She often spent days without speaking to anyone, which made her feel invisible and sad. Another man, George, who had dedicated his life to his career, found that after retiring, he missed the daily interactions with colleagues. He struggled to find new social outlets and felt increasingly isolated. The COVID-19 pandemic has only made these feelings of isolation worse. Lockdowns and social distancing measures forced many older adults to stay at home, cutting them off from their usual activities and support systems. Many face the harsh reality of being alone, with limited opportunities to connect with others. The fear of getting sick kept them from reaching out, and the digital divide made it challenging for some to use technology to stay in touch with family and friends. However, there are practical solutions to combat loneliness and foster social connections. Joining community groups can be a great way to meet new people who share similar interests. Many communities offer classes, clubs, or activities that cater to various hobbies, from gardening to book clubs. Volunteering is another excellent way to connect with others while giving back to the community. It not only helps those in need but also provides a sense of purpose and belonging. Reconnecting with old friends can also be beneficial. A simple phone call or a message can reignite old friendships and create new opportunities for social interaction. It is essential to take a proactive approach to building meaningful social connections. Seeking out opportunities to engage with others can help create a sense of belonging and reduce feelings of loneliness. Whether it's through community events, volunteering, or simply reaching out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while, every effort counts. In conclusion, while loneliness and isolation can be significant challenges in aging, there are many ways to combat these feelings. By actively seeking connections and engaging with the community, older adults can find joy and companionship in their later years. As we age, we often find ourselves reflecting on the paths we have taken and the ones we have left behind. The quiet moments of our lives can be filled with thoughts of missed opportunities and dreams that never came to fruition. Regret can weigh heavily on our hearts, reminding us of what could have been. Yet, within that same space of reflection lies the potential for change and renewal. Take the story of Margaret, a woman in her 60s who spent most of her life working in an office, raising her children, and supporting her family. For years, she had a dream of painting, a passion she had set aside for the responsibilities of life. As her children grew up and moved out, she found herself with more time, but also with a growing sense of regret for not pursuing her artistic aspirations. The thought of picking up a paintbrush after so many years felt daunting, and she often wondered if it was too late to start. One day, while cleaning out her attic, Margaret stumbled upon an old sketchbook filled with her childhood drawings. The sight of those pages ignited a spark within her. She realized that the regret she felt could either hold her back or push her forward. With a newfound determination, she signed up for a local painting class. The first day was filled with nerves, but as she dipped her brush into the paint, she felt a wave of joy wash over her. Each stroke on the canvas was a step toward reclaiming a part of herself that had long been dormant. Margaret faced challenges along the way. There were moments of self-doubt and frustration when her paintings didn't turn out as she had envisioned. Yet, with each class, she learned not only about techniques, but also about resilience. The emotional power of her regrets transformed into motivation. She began to see that it was not about achieving perfection, but about expressing herself and embracing the joy of creation. As the months passed, Margaret's confidence grew. She started to share her work with friends and family, who encouraged her to showcase her paintings in a local art fair. The day of the fair was filled with excitement and nerves, but as she stood by her booth, she felt a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. The smiles and compliments from visitors filled her heart with warmth, and she realized that it was never too late to pursue her dreams. Margaret's journey teaches us that while regret can be a heavy burden, it can also serve as a powerful motivator. It reminds us of our unfulfilled dreams and encourages us to take action, no matter our age. Each of us has the ability to create new beginnings and redefine what fulfillment means in our lives. So, if you find yourself reflecting on roads not taken, remember that it is never too late to start anew. Embrace your passions, confront your regrets, and take that first step toward fulfilling your aspirations. The journey may be challenging, but the rewards of pursuing your dreams are immeasurable. In today's fast-paced world, it can be easy for older adults to feel left behind. With technology advancing at lightning speed and cultural norms shifting almost daily, many find themselves struggling to keep up. Take, for example, the story of Margaret, a retired teacher in her late 60s. Margaret has always been a curious person, but as her grandchildren began to grow up, she noticed a gap forming between them and her. They would talk about apps, social media, and online games, while she felt lost in a sea of unfamiliar terms and platforms. One day, during a family gathering, Margaret overheard her grandchildren laughing and sharing funny videos on their phones. She wanted to join in, to understand what was so amusing, but when she asked them to explain, they looked at her with a mix of surprise and pity. "You wouldn't get it, Grandma," one of them said, and Margaret felt a wave of sadness wash over her. It was as if a door had closed, and she was standing outside, unable to enter the world they inhabited. But instead of giving in to despair, Margaret decided to take action. She remembered how much she loved learning new things, and she realized that curiosity could be her bridge to reconnecting with her family. The next day, she signed up for a local community class on digital literacy. At first, she felt intimidated sitting next to younger students, but she quickly discovered that everyone was there to learn, just like her. She asked questions, shared her own experiences, and even made a few friends along the way. As the weeks went by, Margaret became more comfortable with technology. She learned how to use social media to keep in touch with her grandchildren, and she even started a family group chat. When she shared a funny meme she found online, her grandchildren were impressed. They began to see her not just as grandma, but as someone who was willing to engage with their world. This shift in perspective opened up new conversations, and soon they were sharing stories about their lives, interests, and even their struggles. Margaret's journey shows that staying relevant in a rapidly changing world is not just about keeping up with technology. It's about embracing a mindset of continuous learning and curiosity. By asking questions and being open to new experiences, older adults can bridge the generational gap and foster deeper connections with younger people. Whether it's learning to use a new app, participating in community events, or simply having conversations with younger family members, every effort counts. In a world that often feels overwhelming, remember that curiosity is a powerful tool. It can help you navigate the complexities of modern life and keep you connected to those you love. So, if you ever feel disconnected or irrelevant, take a page from Margaret's story. Embrace the challenge, ask questions, and dive into the digital world with an open heart. You might just find that the connections you create will enrich your life in ways you never imagined. As people reach retirement age, they often find themselves facing a new chapter in life. For many, the roles that once defined their identity, like being a dedicated employee or a nurturing parent, begin to fade. This shift can lead to feelings of uncertainty and confusion. Without the daily structure of work or the responsibilities of raising children, some may struggle to find their place in the world. Take the story of Margaret, a retired school teacher who spent decades shaping young minds. After leaving her job, she felt a profound sense of loss. The classroom had been her stage, and without it, she felt adrift. Days turned into weeks, and she found herself wondering who she was without her title. It was during a quiet afternoon, while sorting through old boxes, that she stumbled upon a collection of her paintings from college. The vibrant colors and expressive strokes sparked something within her. Margaret decided to pick up her paintbrush again. As she immersed herself in art, she rediscovered a passion that had long been buried under the weight of responsibilities. Painting became her sanctuary, a way to express her thoughts and emotions. She began to share her work with friends and family, and soon she was invited to showcase her art at a local community center. Through this experience, Margaret realized that her purpose was not solely tied to her career or her role as a mother. Instead, it blossomed through her connection to others and her ability to contribute to her community. She started offering free art classes to children in the neighborhood, sharing her love for creativity and encouraging them to express themselves. In mentoring these young artists, she found joy and fulfillment that she had not anticipated. Margaret's journey highlights the importance of self-reflection in discovering what truly brings happiness. It's essential to take the time to explore personal interests and passions, especially during times of transition. Engaging in meaningful activities, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or pursuing hobbies, can lead to a renewed sense of purpose. It's important to remember that purpose is not about being productive in the traditional sense. It's about connection, contribution, and the joy of exploring new possibilities. Each person's path to finding purpose is unique, and it often requires stepping outside of comfort zones and embracing new experiences. As you navigate your own journey, consider what activities resonate with you. What brings you joy? What skills or passions can you share with others? By engaging in these meaningful pursuits, you may find that purpose is waiting for you in unexpected places. As people age, they often find themselves at a crossroads, where the roles they have played for years begin to shift. This can be especially true when they retire. For many, retirement is a time of joy and freedom, but it can also bring feelings of confusion and loss. One such person was Tom, a dedicated teacher for over 30 years. When he finally hung up his chalkboard and stepped away from the classroom, he felt a strange emptiness. The title of teacher had been a huge part of his identity, and without it, he struggled to understand who he was. At first, Tom filled his days with mundane tasks and television shows, but he soon realized that this was not enough. He missed the connection with his students, the thrill of sharing knowledge, and the sense of purpose that came with his job. As weeks turned into months, he felt more lost than ever. Friends and family encouraged him to take up hobbies or travel, but he felt disconnected from those ideas. He was stuck in a loop of nostalgia, longing for the days when he felt valued and needed. One day, while cleaning out his attic, Tom stumbled upon an old box filled with art supplies. He had always loved painting, but had set it aside during his busy teaching years. As he opened the box and felt the brushes and paints, a spark ignited within him. He decided to give it a try. That evening, he set up a small easel in his backyard and began to paint. The colors flowed, and with each stroke, he felt a sense of joy returning. It was as if he had rediscovered a part of himself that had been buried under years of responsibilities. Encouraged by this newfound passion, Tom began to explore other interests he had neglected. He started journaling, reflecting on his life, his values, and what truly made him happy. This practice helped him understand that his identity was not solely tied to his profession. He began to reconnect with old friends, some of whom shared his love for art. Together, they formed a small group that met weekly to paint and share stories. These connections brought laughter and warmth back into his life. Through this journey, Tom learned that aging and retirement could be a time of growth rather than loss. He embraced the opportunity to explore new passions and redefine his sense of self. He realized that identity is not fixed. It can evolve and expand as we do. For anyone facing similar challenges, it's important to remember that this period can be a beautiful opportunity for self-exploration. Consider journaling to uncover your thoughts and feelings. Revisit old interests or hobbies that once brought you joy. Engage with your community or reconnect with friends who share your passions. By grounding your new identity in your personal values and what truly excites you, you can create a fulfilling life that reflects who you are today. Embrace this time as a chance to grow, learn, and rediscover the vibrant person within you. Life is a journey, and every stage offers new paths to explore. Many older adults find themselves stepping into caregiving roles for their adult children or grandchildren. This can be a beautiful experience filled with love and connection, but it also comes with its own set of challenges. Balancing the desire to support family with the need to take care of oneself is crucial. Take the story of Margaret, a grandmother in her late 60s. After her daughter faced some tough times, Margaret stepped in to help raise her two grandchildren, ages 5 and 7. At first, she felt a deep sense of joy. The laughter of her grandchildren filled her home, and she cherished the moments spent reading stories and playing games. However, as the days turned into months, Margaret began to feel the weight of her responsibilities. The energy it took to keep up with the kids was more than she had anticipated. She found herself feeling tired and sometimes overwhelmed. Margaret realized that while she loved her grandchildren dearly, she also needed to take care of herself. She started setting boundaries, like designating certain times for herself each week. Whether it was a quiet afternoon with a book or a walk in the park, these moments helped her recharge. She also learned to ask for help when she needed it, whether from friends or family. This not only lightened her load but also allowed her to enjoy her time with the kids even more. Self-care became a priority for Margaret. She began to practice simple routines like cooking healthy meals and getting enough sleep. By nurturing her own well-being, she found that she had more patience and energy to give to her grandchildren. The joy of their time together returned, and she felt more balanced. For anyone in a similar situation, it's important to approach caregiving with love and patience. Remember that it's okay to take a step back and focus on your own needs. Setting boundaries and practicing self-care are not selfish. They are necessary for maintaining a healthy relationship with your family. By finding this balance, you can continue to support your loved ones while also preserving your own energy and time. In the end, caregiving can be a rewarding journey filled with both challenges and joys. With practical wisdom and a heart full of love, you can navigate this path while ensuring that you also take care of yourself. When Tom retired after 30 years of working in a corporate job, he felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. The idea of having all that free time was thrilling, but the reality of living on a fixed income soon set in. At first, Tom struggled with budgeting. He had always been used to a steady paycheck, and now he had to rely on his savings and pension. The first few months were tough. He found himself constantly worried about money, counting every dollar spent on groceries or outings. One day, while sitting at his kitchen table, Tom realized he needed to make some changes. He decided to downsize his home, moving from a large house to a cozy apartment. This not only reduced his monthly expenses, but also freed him from the burdens of maintenance and yard work. With the money saved from selling his house, he felt a sense of relief. He could now enjoy life without the constant stress of financial strain. As Tom settled into his new apartment, he discovered the joy of simple pleasures. He started cooking meals at home, experimenting with new recipes, and enjoying the process. He found that he could have fun without spending much money. He began to explore local parks, taking long walks, and appreciating nature. These small changes brought him happiness and a sense of fulfillment. However, as the weeks turned into months, Tom faced another challenge: boredom. With so much free time, he sometimes felt lost and purposeless. He missed the structure of his work life and the social interactions that came with it. To combat this feeling, Tom sought out new activities. He began volunteering at a local food bank, which not only filled his days but also connected him with others in his community. Helping those in need gave him a sense of purpose that he had been missing. Tom also revisited old hobbies he had set aside during his busy career. He picked up painting, something he had loved in his youth, and found joy in expressing himself creatively. He joined a local art class, where he met new friends who shared his interests. This social aspect made a significant difference in his life, as he no longer felt isolated. To create a sense of structure, Tom started planning his days. He set aside time for exercise, hobbies, and volunteering, making sure to keep a balanced routine. This not only helped him stay active, but also gave him something to look forward to each day. Through these adjustments, Tom learned that retirement could be a time of growth and fulfillment. He discovered that while financial changes could be challenging, they also opened doors to new experiences and opportunities. By embracing a simpler lifestyle and finding joy in everyday activities, he transformed his retirement into a rewarding chapter of his life. Tom's journey reminds us that retirement is not just an end, but a new beginning. With creativity and a willingness to adapt, it can be a time filled with purpose, connection, and joy. Coping with changing relationships is a part of life that many of us experience. As we grow older, our friendships, family dynamics, and romantic relationships naturally evolve. Sometimes, these changes can lead to feelings of disconnection or loneliness. For instance, friends may drift apart due to different life paths. Family roles can shift as children grow up or parents age, and romantic relationships may change as partners grow and develop in different ways. I remember a story about a woman named Sarah who faced significant loss when her husband passed away unexpectedly. After his death, she felt isolated and struggled to find her place in the world. Many of her friends didn't know how to support her, and she found herself spending a lot of time alone. It was a tough period, filled with sadness and loneliness. However, Sarah decided she wanted to rebuild her social network. She started by joining a local support group for people who had experienced similar losses. This group not only provided her with a safe space to share her feelings, but also introduced her to new friends who understood her situation. Encouraged by her new connections, Sarah began to explore new hobbies. She took up painting, which allowed her to express her emotions creatively. Through a community art class, she met others who shared her passion, and these interactions blossomed into friendships. She also attended local meetups focused on various interests, from book clubs to hiking groups. Each new experience opened doors to meaningful connections, helping her to feel less alone. For anyone facing changes in their relationships, it's important to remain open to new experiences. Joining new groups, attending meetups, and embracing hobbies can be great ways to meet people and form new bonds. It's essential to remember that relationships can continue to enrich our lives at any stage. While it may take time and effort to rebuild a social network, the rewards of connection and companionship are worth it. In the end, just like Sarah, we can find new paths to connection, even after experiencing loss or change. Life is full of opportunities to meet new people and create lasting relationships. So staying open to these possibilities can lead to unexpected joys. As we navigate the journey of aging, it's easy to focus on the challenges that come our way. Health concerns, changes in relationships, and the inevitable passage of time. Yet, within these challenges lies a beautiful opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Each wrinkle tells a story, each gray hair reflects a moment lived, and every new experience can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Aging invites us to embrace resilience and optimism. It encourages us to seek out meaningful connections, to cherish the relationships we have, and to forge new ones. This stage of life can be a time of renewed purpose, where we can explore passions that may have been set aside and discover new interests that ignite our spirits. It's a chance to reflect on our journey, to celebrate our achievements, and to share our wisdom with others. Let us remember that aging is not merely a series of obstacles, but a canvas for joy, growth, and new beginnings. With each passing year, we have the chance to redefine what fulfillment means to us, to pursue dreams that may have seemed out of reach, and to find happiness in the little moments that make life so rich. So, as we embrace this stage of life, let's do so with open hearts and hopeful minds. The best is yet to come, and the possibilities are endless. Together, let's step forward with courage, ready to create a future filled with love, laughter, and meaningful experiences. Thank you for joining us in exploring the profound impact of solitude on our lives. We've delved into how living alone can be a pathway to peace and happiness, especially for older adults seeking a sanctuary of freedom and self-discovery. It's fascinating to consider how this journey can lead to tranquility, control, and a fresh start, allowing individuals to reconnect with themselves in ways they may have never imagined. Now that we've wrapped up this insightful discussion, let's shift gears and dive into a new topic that complements our exploration of solitude. Have you ever thought about the ways in which community and connection can enhance our experiences of living alone? In the next segment, we'll uncover the delicate balance between solitude and social engagement, revealing how both can coexist beautifully in our lives. So, stay tuned as we embark on this exciting journey together. As people grow older, the longing for peace and quiet often becomes more pronounced. After years of managing busy households, raising children, and living in lively environments, many individuals find themselves yearning for stillness. The hustle and bustle of daily life can be overwhelming, and as responsibilities lessen, the desire for a calm space grows stronger. Take Margaret, for example. For decades, her home was filled with the sounds of laughter, the chaos of children playing, and the constant activity of family life. She loved every moment of it. But as her children grew up and moved out, and her grandchildren began to visit, she found herself longing for a little solitude. After each visit, when the toys were put away and the last of the giggles faded, Margaret would take a deep breath and feel a wave of relief wash over her. In those quiet moments, she would reclaim her space. She would sit in her favorite chair with a cup of tea, enjoying the stillness that enveloped her home. The walls that once echoed with noise now felt like a comforting embrace. Margaret discovered that this solitude was not just a break from the busyness. It was a chance to reconnect with herself. She could read her favorite books, tend to her garden, or simply watch the clouds drift by. This time alone allowed her to reflect on her life, to appreciate the memories she had created, and to find joy in the simple things. Margaret realized that solitude was essential for her well-being. It nurtured her spirit and gave her the strength to cherish the moments spent with her family, knowing that she could always return to her peaceful sanctuary. As people age, the importance of finding stillness becomes clear. It is in these quiet moments that they can recharge, reflect, and truly enjoy the life they have by lieutenant. For many, like Margaret, solitude is not just a luxury. It is a vital part of nurturing their happiness and well-being. Living alone can be a source of great joy and personal growth. When we have time to ourselves, we can explore our interests and reflect on our lives without the distractions that often come from being around others. This solitude allows us to connect with our inner selves and understand what truly makes us happy. Take, for example, a 70-year-old gardener who has spent many years tending to his plants. Each morning, he wakes up early, enjoying the quiet of the dawn. As he steps into his garden, he feels a sense of peace wash over him. The simple act of watering the flowers or pulling weeds becomes a moment of meditation. He finds joy in the colors of the blooms and the sounds of nature around him. In these moments, he reflects on his life, his choices, and the lessons he has learned over the years. Living alone, he has the freedom to create a routine that suits him perfectly. He can spend hours nurturing his garden, experimenting with new plants, or simply enjoying the beauty of what he has grown. This daily practice not only brings him satisfaction, but also encourages him to think deeply about his passions and dreams. He learns to appreciate the small things, like the way sunlight filters through the leaves, or the satisfaction of seeing a seed sprout. In solitude, he discovers that he does not need others to feel fulfilled. His garden becomes a companion, offering him comfort and joy. He finds that he can be happy in his own company, and this realization is empowering. It teaches him that emotional fulfillment can come from within, rather than relying on the presence of others. As he reflects on his life, he understands that solitude has shaped him into a more thoughtful and self-aware person. He learns to embrace his thoughts and feelings, allowing them to guide him toward personal growth. The quiet moments spent in his garden become a source of strength, helping him to navigate the challenges of life with grace. In the end, living alone can be a beautiful journey of self-discovery. It allows individuals to cultivate their interests and find peace in their own company. The 70-year-old gardener exemplifies how solitude can lead to a fulfilling and enriched life, where personal growth flourishes in the stillness of the heart. Liz had always been close to her family, but when she decided to live alone, she quickly realized how important it was to have her own space. At first, she enjoyed the freedom that came with living by herself. She could decorate her home however she liked, play her music as loud as she wanted, and enjoy quiet evenings without interruptions. However, this peace was often disrupted by family members who would drop by unannounced, thinking they were just being friendly. At first, Liz didn't mind the visits. She loved her family and wanted to be there for them. But as time went on, she began to feel overwhelmed. The constant interruptions made it hard for her to relax and recharge. She found herself feeling anxious and stressed, wishing for the solitude she had once cherished. It became clear to her that she needed to set some boundaries to protect her personal well-being. After some reflection, Liz decided to have a conversation with her family. She explained how much she valued her alone time and how important it was for her mental health. To her surprise, they were understanding. They didn't realize how their visits were affecting her. Liz set clear boundaries, letting them know that she would appreciate a call before they came over. This small change made a big difference in her life. With her new boundaries in place, Liz felt a sense of relief. She could enjoy her home without the fear of unexpected visitors. Living alone allowed her to prioritize her needs, and she found joy in her own company. She started to explore new hobbies, read more books, and even took up cooking. The freedom to choose how she spent her time became a source of happiness. Liz learned that living alone was not just about having a space to call her own. It was about respecting her needs and creating an environment where she could thrive. By enforcing strong boundaries, she discovered the importance of personal well-being. Now, her home was a sanctuary, a place where she could recharge and find peace. In the end, Liz realized that taking care of herself was not selfish, it was necessary. Living alone gave her the opportunity to focus on what truly mattered to her, and she embraced that freedom after years of sharing space with others. Many people find that living alone brings a sense of freedom they never knew they needed. Take, for example, a forum participant who is 65 years old. After decades of making compromises, whether it was about the temperature of the house, the choice of furniture, or even what to watch on television, this individual finally decided to embrace solitary living. Living alone allowed this person to reclaim their time and space. No longer did they have to consider someone else's preferences or schedule. They could wake up when they wanted, enjoy breakfast at their own pace, and fill their day with activities that truly brought them joy. The simple act of choosing what to eat or how to decorate their home became a source of satisfaction. This newfound independence also meant that they could make decisions without having to consult anyone else. If they wanted to take a spontaneous trip or spend an entire day reading, they could do so without hesitation. The freedom to create a personal routine filled with things that mattered to them was liberating. Moreover, living alone allowed for self-reflection and personal growth. With no distractions from others, this individual could focus on their own needs and desires. They discovered hobbies they had long forgotten and found joy in solitude. Quiet moments became opportunities for peace and clarity, enhancing their overall well-being. In essence, the choice to live alone transformed their life. It was not just about having a space to call their own. It was about embracing autonomy and finding happiness in independence. The years of compromises faded into the background, replaced by a fulfilling life where every decision was theirs to make. Years of selfless caregiving can take a heavy toll on anyone. Many people dedicate their lives to caring for children, spouses, or aging parents, often putting their own needs aside. This constant giving can lead to feelings of exhaustion and burnout. When you pour all your energy into others, it's easy to lose sight of who you are and what you want. A woman shared her story on Reddit about how she found herself in this situation after her husband passed away. For years, she had been the one to support him, managing the household and caring for him through thick and thin. When he was gone, she realized that she had neglected her own needs for far too long. It was a painful awakening, but it also opened the door to a new chapter in her life. Deciding to focus on self-care was a radical shift for her. Living alone gave her the freedom to explore her interests and rediscover herself. She started to enjoy activities she had once loved but had set aside, whether it was painting, hiking, or simply enjoying quiet moments with a book. She found joy in the little things. This time alone allowed her to reflect on her life, her choices, and what truly made her happy. As she embraced this new phase, she learned that prioritizing her own needs didn't mean she was selfish. Instead, it was a necessary step toward healing and growth. By taking care of herself, she became stronger and more resilient. The freedom of living alone became a canvas for self-discovery, where she could paint her own future without the weight of constant caregiving. In the end, her journey showed that stepping back from caregiving can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. It's a reminder that while caring for others is important, caring for oneself is essential. Finding that balance can lead to a renewed sense of purpose and happiness. Living alone can be a powerful choice for older adults, allowing them to age in a way that feels right for them. This solitude offers a unique freedom, giving individuals the ability to decide when and how they seek help. For many, this means preserving their dignity and independence, which are essential for a fulfilling life. Take, for example, a man named John. As he grew older, he found that he wanted to maintain control over his daily routine. He loved his children dearly, but he felt overwhelmed by their constant oversight. They often checked in on him, wanting to ensure he was safe and healthy. While their intentions were good, John felt that this attention sometimes made him feel less capable. He wanted to manage his own life, making choices about when to ask for help and when to enjoy his own company. Living alone allowed John to set his own pace. He could decide when to reach out for assistance, whether it was for a small task like grocery shopping or for a more significant need like medical help. This autonomy gave him a sense of purpose and pride. He could still enjoy visits from his children, but on his terms. He could invite them over when he felt like company, rather than feeling like he was under constant watch. This kind of independence enhances the quality of life for many older adults. It allows them to engage in activities they love, pursue hobbies, and maintain friendships without feeling pressured. They can create their own schedules, eat what they want, and enjoy the peace that comes with solitude. When help is needed, they can ask for it without feeling like they are losing control over their lives. In this way, solitude becomes a source of strength. It empowers older adults to live life on their own terms, making choices that reflect their desires and needs. For John, living alone was not just about having space. It was about embracing his independence and dignity as he navigated the later years of his life. At 67, Robert found himself at a crossroads. After years of living in a large family home filled with memories, he decided to move to a smaller apartment. This change was not just about downsizing, it was about embracing a new chapter in his life. Living alone opened up a world of possibilities that he had not considered before. In his new space, Robert felt a sense of freedom he hadn't experienced in years. The quiet of his apartment allowed him to reflect on his life, his choices, and what he truly wanted moving forward. Without the daily routines that had once defined him, he began to explore new interests. He signed up for art classes at a local community center, something he had always wanted to do but never had the time for. While raising a family and working, as he picked up a paintbrush for the first time, Robert felt a rush of excitement. The colors danced on the canvas, and he lost himself in the process of creation. Each stroke was a step away from the expectations that had once weighed him down. He discovered a talent for expressing his feelings through art, something he had never known he possessed. The classes became a sanctuary where he could connect with others who shared his passion, forming friendships that enriched his life. Living alone also allowed Robert to reclaim his independence. He no longer had to consider anyone else's schedule or preferences. He could choose what to eat, when to go out, and how to spend his days. This newfound autonomy was liberating. He started to take long walks in the park, visit museums, and even travel to places he had always dreamed of seeing. Each experience added a layer to his identity, helping him to reinvent himself in ways he had never imagined. Solitude, once a source of fear, transformed into a canvas for self-discovery. Robert learned to enjoy his own company, finding joy in the simple things like reading a book or sipping coffee while watching the world go by. He realized that living alone did not mean being lonely. Instead, it was an opportunity to connect with himself on a deeper level. Through this journey, Robert discovered that solitude can be a powerful catalyst for personal growth. It allowed him to break free from the routines that had defined his life for so long. He embraced change, explored new passions, and ultimately found a renewed sense of purpose. Living alone became not just a change of address, but a fresh start filled with endless possibilities. In her 70s, Margaret found herself living alone in a small, sunlit apartment. After years of raising a family and working hard, she realized that her life had become cluttered, not just with things, but with relationships and obligations that no longer brought her joy. One day, as she sat in her living room surrounded by boxes of old trinkets and memories, she felt a deep yearning for simplicity. Margaret decided it was time to embrace minimalism. She started with her physical space. One by one, she picked up items that had once held meaning, but now felt like burdens. A dusty vase from a long-forgotten friend, a stack of books she had never read, and clothes that no longer fit her lifestyle all found their way to donation boxes. With each item she let go, she felt lighter, as if a weight was being lifted from her shoulders. The more she decluttered, the clearer her mind became, as her apartment transformed into a serene space. With only the essentials, Margaret also began to reflect on her relationships. She realized that some friendships had become more of an obligation than a source of joy. With a gentle heart, she chose to step back from those connections that drained her energy. Instead, she focused on nurturing the relationships that brought her happiness and peace. Living alone allowed Margaret to create a sanctuary that reflected her newfound values. Her home was now filled with only the things she truly loved: a few cherished photographs, a comfortable chair for reading, and a small plant that thrived in the sunlight. Each item had a purpose and a story, and they brought her a sense of calm. As she embraced this simpler way of living, Margaret discovered that her mindset also began to shift. She found joy in the little things: a warm cup of tea, the sound of birds outside her window, and the quiet moments spent in reflection. The chaos of her past life faded away, replaced by a peaceful balance that she had long sought. And in her journey toward minimalism, Margaret learned that letting go was not just about physical possessions, but also about freeing herself from the emotional clutter that had accumulated over the years. Living alone became a beautiful opportunity for her to cultivate a life filled with intention and clarity. Through her story, it becomes clear that simplicity can lead to profound peace. By decluttering both her space and her heart, Margaret found a sense of balance that allowed her to truly enjoy the present moment. For many years, Sarah lived with her partner in a cozy apartment. While they shared many happy moments, she often found herself compromising on little things that mattered to her. The meals they cooked together were always a blend of their tastes, but Sarah secretly longed for the spicy dishes she loved. The decor of their home reflected a mix of their styles, but she missed the vibrant colors and personal touches that made her feel at home. When Sarah decided to live alone, she felt a wave of liberation wash over her. No longer did she have to consider someone else's preferences. She could fill her kitchen with the ingredients she adored, experimenting with flavors that excited her. Each meal became a celebration of her own tastes, and she relished the freedom to cook exactly what she wanted, whenever she wanted. Her living space transformed as well. With no one to please but herself, Sarah painted the walls in bright hues and filled her home with art that spoke to her soul. Every piece of decor was a reflection of her personality, and she felt a deep sense of satisfaction as she walked through her own space. It was a sanctuary that echoed her individuality. Beyond meals and decor, Sarah discovered the joy of making lifestyle choices that suited her. She could spend her weekends exploring new hobbies or simply enjoying quiet moments with a book. The freedom to choose how she spent her time brought her a sense of peace and fulfillment that she had longed for. Living alone allowed Sarah to embrace her autonomy fully. Each decision, big or small, was hers alone to make. This newfound independence fostered a deep sense of satisfaction as she realized that her happiness was in her own hands. The compromises of the past faded into memory, replaced by a vibrant life that was uniquely hers. In this journey of self-discovery, Sarah learned that the freedom to make independent choices not only shaped her environment but also enriched her spirit. She felt empowered, content, and truly at home in her own life. Emotional independence is a powerful sign that someone is ready to live alone. When a person learns to rely on themselves and develops emotional resilience, they find that they don't need constant companionship to feel fulfilled. This journey often leads to a deeper understanding of oneself and a greater appreciation for solitude. Take, for example, a participant who once struggled with feelings of loneliness and dependency on others for happiness. Over time, they began to focus on their own interests and passions. They started to explore hobbies, read books, and spend time in nature. As they engaged in these activities, they discovered a sense of joy that came from within. This newfound self-reliance allowed them to enjoy their own company, and they realized that being alone didn't mean being lonely. Living alone provided this participant with the space to grow emotionally. They learned to process their thoughts and feelings without the influence of others. This self-reflection helped them build emotional strength, making them more resilient in the face of challenges. Instead of seeking validation or comfort from friends or family, they found peace in their own thoughts and experiences. As they embraced solitude, they began to appreciate the quiet moments. They found joy in simple things, like sipping coffee in the morning or watching the sunset in the evening. These moments became a source of comfort and happiness, reinforcing their emotional independence. They learned that solitude could be a time for creativity and self-discovery, rather than a void to be filled with the presence of others. In this way, emotional independence and resilience reduce the need for constant companionship. When a person feels whole on their own, they can enjoy relationships without relying on them for happiness. Living alone becomes a journey of self-exploration, where one can cultivate inner peace and strength. This participant's experience shows that solitude can be a beautiful and enriching part of life, leading to emotional growth and a deeper connection with oneself. Living alone can be a transformative experience, offering a unique space for personal growth and self-discovery. In the quiet of her own home, a woman named Clara found herself at a crossroads. After years of busy schedules and social obligations, she realized that she had neglected her passion for painting. The vibrant colors and the soothing strokes of a brush had once filled her life with joy, but they had faded into the background as responsibilities took over. With no one around to distract her, Clara began to explore her feelings of solitude. At first, the silence felt overwhelming, but as days turned into weeks, she started to appreciate the uninterrupted time she had. She dusted off her old easel and pulled out the paint tubes that had long been forgotten. The act of setting up her workspace became a ritual, a way to reconnect with herself. Each brushstroke was a conversation with her inner self, allowing her to express emotions she had bottled up for too long. As she painted, Clara discovered that solitude was not just about being alone. It was about finding clarity. The quiet moments allowed her to reflect on her life, her dreams, and the person she wanted to be. She experimented with colors and techniques, rediscovering the joy of creation. The canvas became a mirror, reflecting her journey of self-exploration. With every painting, she felt a sense of fulfillment that had been missing from her life. Living alone nurtured her growth in ways she had never anticipated. It gave her the freedom to pursue her passions without the fear of judgment or interruption. Clara found herself lost in the world of art, where time seemed to stand still. The solitude that once felt daunting transformed into a sanctuary for her creativity. She began to understand that this time alone was not just about painting. It was about reclaiming her identity and embracing the woman she had always wanted to be. Through her journey, Clara learned that solitude can be a powerful catalyst for change. It allowed her to reconnect with her passions and rediscover the joy of living authentically. In the end, living alone became a gift, a chance to nurture her spirit and cultivate a life filled with creativity and fulfillment. In a quiet neighborhood, there lived a man named George who was in his 70s. After many years of working and raising a family, he found himself living alone. At first, he felt a bit lonely, but soon he discovered the joy of having complete control over his daily routine. Each morning, George would wake up without an alarm clock. He loved the gentle light of the sun streaming through his window, and he would stretch and take his time getting out of bed. Once he was up, George enjoyed making breakfast at his own pace. He would often prepare a simple meal of oatmeal topped with fresh fruit, savoring each bite while listening to his favorite music. This quiet time in the morning became a cherished ritual for him, allowing him to start the day feeling calm and content. After breakfast, George liked to go for a walk in the nearby park. He would take his time, stopping to admire the flowers and watch the birds. Some days he felt energetic and would walk for an hour, while other days he preferred a shorter stroll. Living alone meant he could choose how long he wanted to be outside, depending on how he felt that day. In the afternoons, George enjoyed engaging in hobbies that brought him joy. He loved to read, paint, and sometimes even try his hand at cooking new recipes. He could spend hours lost in a good